Makali Mulu, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by thanking the majority leader for that good moving of the bill, Honorable Speaker. But it's important, Honorable Speaker, because I'm going to be discussing the committee report that I make some introductory comments. Honorable Speaker, this bill was presented or was published on 4th May 2023, and it was read a first time in this House, 6th June 2023. Thereafter, Honorable Speaker, you referred to the committee, Public Debt and Privatization Committee, for consideration. And in line with our standing orders, 2 advertisements were placed in Daily Nation and Standard newspaper, calling for stakeholders and individuals to submit their comments on this bill. So, Honorable Speaker, in response to that advertisement, we got some comments from institutions and individuals. And it is important I mention them, Honorable Speaker, that we were able to get submissions from Institute of Social Accountability, TISA, International Budget Partnership, IBP Kenya, Institute of Economic Affairs, and Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Honorable Speaker. We also got submissions from University of Nairobi Women Economic Empowerment Hub, Civil Engineering Contractors Association, as well as individuals, namely Jimmy Wanjiki and Valadine Wangeshi Ukwaro. On the basis of that interaction, Honorable Speaker, the committee was able to prepare a report, and then that report we did table it yesterday, and that's the report, Honorable Speaker. I want just to bring highlights from that report, Honorable Speaker. But before I want to do that, Honorable Speaker, it is also important that I appreciate the support we got from your office of the Clerk of the National Assembly, the support we got from all the stakeholders, Treasury, Honorable Speaker, our Parliamentary Budget Office, and our Legal Department. With this support, Honorable Speaker, we have managed to go through this bill, and the bill has about 7 clauses. So very quickly, I just want to learn clause by clause so that the help honorable members appreciate the bill and be able to make their comments or debate the bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the first clause, which has been amended, is clause 2A, and the objective of this, or the import of this clause, Honorable Speaker, is in the bill we have what we call the county public debt. County public debt. So there is a proposal to delete the word public so that we remain with the county debt. After interacting with the stakeholders, Honorable Speaker, we all did agree that once you delete the word public from the county public debt, then there is a risk of, instead of focusing on public debt, which is guaranteed by the national government, that may also include debts which have been incurred at the county level. For example, most counties are going to the banks and getting bank overdrafts to pay salaries. So there was that strong feeling that if you remove the word public, then you are likely to be even including those lower levels of county debts. So on that basis, we are recommending as a committee, Honorable Speaker, that we retain that as it is. Honorable Speaker, the other proposal under clause 2, which is clause 2B, was to provide a divination for financial obligations. And I want, Honorable Speaker, to look at what the Constitution says about public debt. If you look at Article 214 of our Constitution, public debt is defined as follows. Public debt means all financial obligations attendant to loans raised or guaranteed and securities issued or guaranteed by the national government. So what this bill tries to do, Honorable Speaker, under clause 2B, is now to come up with a definition of financial obligations so that we have a clear definition and we don't entertain ambiguity in terms of what should be paid or not paid. On that basis, Honorable Speaker, as a committee, Treasury had crafted some definition, and as a committee we thought it was not good enough to capture what is intended in the Constitution. So we will be, as we go to the third reading, we will be briefing what they have done, and we will be giving a new definition, just an improvement of what they have done. But in principle, Honorable Speaker, we are in agreement that there is need to come up with a definition of what financial obligation means, so that there is clarity. The other clause, Honorable Speaker, is clause 3A, where the proposal is to delete the word national, so that instead of having national debt, we replace national debt with public debt. And this is aligned with the Constitution. The Constitution talks about public debt, not national debt. So this is just like cleaning the act, Honorable Speaker. And as a committee, we really have no problem supporting that. So we are saying that as we move to the future, Honorable Speaker, then we will be agreeing with the Treasury so that we replace the word national debt with public debt. Clause 3B, Honorable Speaker, is intended to ensure that the Public Debt Management Office has more role in controlling what happens at the national level in terms of matters public debt, and what happens at the county level matters county debt, public debt. What is happening, Honorable Speaker, currently is that the Public Debt Management Office can only now go and monitor or audit county public debts at the invitation of the counties. But the law says their work is actually to oversee in totality the public debt. So what this clause 3 is attempting to do, Honorable Speaker, is to make sure that then the Public Debt Management Office can audit both at the national level and at the county level matters related to public debt without the word invitation. And we think that's a good amendment, Honorable Speaker. So we are agreeing to that as a committee, and we will be supporting that. Now, clause 4, Honorable Speaker, is a clause which now, and I want members to listen, clause 4 is suggesting, currently, this office called the Public Debt Management Office, under clause 4, is being suggested that this office also takes the advisory role to advise Parliament. Currently, they only advise Treasury. Now, their advisory role is being extended to include Parliament. And if you look at the principle of separation of power, first of all, this office, honorable members, is a department or a directory under Treasury, which means they are answerable to the PS Treasury and CS Treasury. So from that analysis, you can see that it is like Parliament will be being advised by a department in the Treasury. And this, on the basis of principle of separation of powers, is not obtainable. So, honorable members, this clause 4, even though they are proposing that we do that, this is a clause the committee has taken a position, and we are saying there is no way Parliament can be advised by a department in Treasury. On the basis of that, this clause will be proposing for deletion, and it will not be part of the bill. Clause 4B, Honorable Speaker, talks about the other issue I was discussing is just a cleaning exercise, replacing national debt with the public debt, because public debt is divided in the Constitution. Now, clause 6A, Honorable Speaker, this is, to me, this was the main reason why this bill was crafted by Treasury. And it is what the majority leader was explaining. And I want to plead with honorable members that we take time to listen to what the committee observed. In this clause, it has two sections. Section 1 of the clause part 1 of the clause seeks to delete the words "a limit" and replace them with the words "set threshold." But in addition to that, there is an insertion of a proviso at the end of the sentence that reads, and I want our members to listen to this proviso, which reads, provided that if at any time the Cabinet Secretary is unable to maintain the public debt threshold as required under this subsection or the regulations thereunder, the Cabinet Secretary shall submit a written report to Parliament explaining the cause of the breach on the threshold and provide a time-bound remedial plan. Honorable Speaker, as the majority leader said, let me handle the second part because it's easier. What this second part is saying is, honorable members, as Parliament, we have been asked or been coerced to allow our power be exercised by Treasury. What they are saying is, we allow the CS Treasury to breach the law, and then he can come to explain to us. If you look at the Constitution, it is very clear that it is only Parliament that can set limit, debt limit, or the threshold. So on the basis of that, that proviso or part 2 of that clause, Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we have said no to it, and we will not be allowing it. So we only set the threshold, but part 2 will be deleted as we move to the future, Honorable Speaker. Now, let me come to the threshold, Honorable Speaker. And this way I want to spend a bit of time, Honorable Speaker, because it's important. Now, honorable members, when I joined this House in 2013 together with the majority leader and other members like Honorable Boy, the first year we go to this House, that was March. Before the end of that year, the House was presented with a proposal to change the debt ceiling from 1.2 Kenya shillings trillion to 2.4 trillion. Personally, I did oppose that proposal, but at the end of the day, the majority carried their day, and we moved it up to 2.4. Over time, we hit that limit. And then Treasury came back to us again, and instead of now a limit, they proposed to go back to the threshold, the so-called debt anchor. So we went back to a percentage of the GDP. And Honorable Speaker, at that time, the percentage we approved was 50% of GDP. This is the net present value of the public debt to GDP was 50%, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we operated under that up to almost around 2017. And in 2017 again, Treasury came back, Honorable Speaker, and we went back now to our limit as a figure again. Where we set the figure, I think at that point, if I remember well, was about 8.4 trillion. Then over time, the House was requested to push it to 9 trillion, which we did after a serious discussion in this House. And just last year, as we were approaching the election, Honorable Speaker, as we were approving the last budget, the budget we are implementing now, Honorable Speaker, Treasury came back again and said we needed to raise the ceiling to 10 trillion, Honorable Speaker. So what am I saying? I'm saying as a country, we have been able to experience both sides of this threshold, a nominal figure and a percentage. And the truth of the matter is, despite of which one we are using, we always end up being requested to improve it. So what has happened currently, Treasury is now requesting this House to approve a net present value of the public debt to GDP of 55%. Why 55%, honorable members? Honorable members, the World Bank and the IMF, who are like the financial monitors in the world, would normally carry an assessment of the country capacity to get debt. We call them public debt carrying capacity of countries. So Kenya, from where we are, after looking at all the factors, we are assessed as our debt carrying capacity is 55% of the GDP, the net present. So, honorable members, what we have been requested is now, you move from a nominal figure of 10 trillion and place the country in 55% where it should be as assessed by the international bodies. So that is our debt carrying capacity. Now, the challenge we have, honorable members, by the time we were interacting with Treasury, our net present value was 60%, which already means we have already breached. We are above the 55. As I'm talking to you now, and you had the chair budget explained, we are at 62.5%. So the question in the committee we have been asking ourselves is, Honorable Speaker, we are asking ourselves, and you are a renowned lawyer in this country, do we legislate when we already know that we have breached this position? And that's why we see, Honorable Speaker, we had said we provide a threshold of 55% plus 5%, so that if it gets to 60%, then we will be saying, let's make the law without breaching the law. 80 million just for failure of not drawing the loan which has already been approved. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of the foreign exchange. Because of the way our foreign exchange regime is not stable, Honorable Speaker, we end up spending a lot of money paying for the changes, what we call the volatility of the dollar and the other foreign currency. So this is another area, Honorable Speaker, we want the House to take seriously. Because I could hear the majority saying we need to come up with the strategies of how to monitor this. The other thing, Honorable Members, is we have said it is time this country came up with a sinking fund for paying public debt. So that once we introduce that, we establish that sinking fund, Honorable Speaker, over time, like now we should not be discussing the issue of how do we pay the Euro bond, which you took 2014. If we had a sinking fund, we will be paying that amount on annual basis, and by now we'll just be awaiting to issue the final payment for that Euro bond, and will not be even straining Kenyans. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, we have said as a committee, and it's important, Honorable Members, you note this. We have said the basic principle of borrowing is that the generation which is borrowing should not be in a position to overburden the future generation. We call it in a technical term intergenerational equity. So that when we are borrowing today, we must remember our future children and grandchildren will be expected to pay these loans because they are 30, 40 years loans. So there must be a procedure to ensure that we don't overburden our future generations. In that case, Honorable Members, as a House, as we discuss public debt is important, we take note of some of these important things so that we will be able to help our future generations so that by the time we take the loans, by the time they mature, they will have generated enough income for the country to repay without overburdening the future generations. Last but not least, Honorable Speaker, on this issue of public debt, as a committee, we are saying that application of public debt, any money borrowed from outside Kenya and domestically, so long as it is a loan, it must be applied for intended purposes. Honorable Speaker, we have seen a situation where members are saying these loans are being applied to projects which are not feasible, projects which don't generate income for the country, which are not sending enough returns to the country. At the end of the day, we end up paying for debts using our exchequer or considered fund services and not with the resources which have been generated by investing in these loans. So, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, Honorable Members, those are some of the things you have done as a committee, and we'll be urging you when we come to the third reading, so that as we amend this bill, we amend the bill to an extent that we don't lose our independence in terms of determining public debt, and at the same time we don't allow a department in Treasury to start telling us how to relate with public debt, because we have our own parliamentary budget office which has the capacity to do that with this House. So with those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second, and I want to thank my members for the many days we sat together to discuss this bill. I want to thank everybody who was involved and our stakeholders. Once more, Honorable Speaker, thank you. I second.
Thank you, Honorable Makali Mulu. I'll now propose the question, which is that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2023, be now read the second time. Omboko Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to make a few comments on this particular bill, which